Hi, good day, and welcome to Rico Anime Recaps. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
A news broadcast announces that yesterday Minister Brandt arrived yesterday afternoon at Berlin Airport in Ostinia with a delegation from Westdalis. A summit between the two countries is being planned for tonight. Meanwhile, a group of students from Berlin University begins loading boxes into a van which also has caged dogs in it. The Forges arrive downtown with Anya excited about getting a dog. They arrive at Kimon Park, a pet shop, but are immediately greeted by several ferocious-looking dogs prepared by Wise with combat training. However, Onya is completely disinterested in getting a dog like that, so Lloyd scrambles to try to get her a smaller dog. The Wise agent at the pet shop informs Lloyd that there's an adoption fair at the adoption shelter today, so he decides they should check it out. However, he gets a signal from another Wise agent about new orders, so he tells Onya and Yi to go on ahead to the animal shelter while he uses the bathroom. Anya, having read his mind, pushes that he'll take a while in the bathroom, so they should just go on ahead, which Yi agrees to do. Lloyd gets in the car with the Wise agent, who takes him to Wise headquarters due to an emergency summons. The agent tells Lloyd that there's an assassination plot against Minister Brandt. The agent tells Lloyd that the plot is for tonight at the summit, led by a group of isolationist students from Berlin University, who are also under watch by the SSS. They were luckily able to catch one of the students, Chris, who was skulking around the embassy, but their interrogation of him hasn't yielded much information yet. Hangler walks into the interrogation room where Chris is being held, who tells her that he won't sell out his friends. However, she tells him that they caught their leader, so she has no need for him anyways. Keith Kepler, the leader of the terrorists, arrives being escorted by two Wise agents and crosses paths with Chris. Keith tells the agents that the whole plot was Chris's idea and that he'll tell the agents everything if they let him go. Handler tells Chris they don't care who the leader is as long as they get the information they need. Chris, realizing he doesn't want to be framed, starts giving information to Handler. Lloyd takes off his Keith disguise and watches the interrogation with another Wise agent. Chris tells Handler about their active member and the hideouts he knows about. Handler asks him how they were planning to carry out the assassination, and he tells her that they were planning to use bomb dogs. Lloyd finds the plan ridiculous as it would cost way too much money to train each of the dogs, especially for college students. The other agent with Lloyd theorizes that it could possibly be a far-right group or a foreign nation. Backing the students, Wise attempts to come up with a plan. To deal with the terrorist threat, Lloyd proposes canceling the summit, but Handler shoots down the idea as it would look bad for Ostinia's ruling party. Instead, she tells an agent to leak the information they've learned so far to officials of the ruling party to help avoid an incident. Meanwhile, two men are walking downtown with two dogs on leashes, and one of the men stops to get a coffee. One of the dogs, Bond, sees a kid playing around on the sidewalk and runs up and grabs him before a plank of wood that's falling off a building hits him. The kid thanks Bond for saving his life before Bond turns and walks back to the two men. Bond, running away, makes the two men wonder if the dogs will be up to the task, but they decide it's too late to change plans. Now Onya and Ye arrive at the animal shelter, and after seeing all the animals there, Ye wonders why Lloyd didn't take them there in the first place. Onya runs around excitedly looking at all the animals available. Ye begins talking to a worker at the shelter about what breed she recommends and notices a man walking by with Bond. She reads Bond's mind and sees herself and the rest of the forgers and wonders how she and her family, including Lloyd, were in the dog's mind. Onya contemplates telling Yo about it, but decides to just go after the dog herself. Onya heads into a building and finds a handful of dogs tied on leashes, including Bond. While looking at the dog, she overhears Keith and the other students talking about their assassination plot. Keith plans to assassinate Minister Brandt to bring Ostinia back to its former glory. While Anya is listening and another student, Kurt catches her listening and the other students ask what they should do, and Keith pulls out a knife, telling them they just need to take care of it. Kurt is holding on to Onya Forger while Keith Kepler is holding on to a knife, getting ready to kill. He or one of the other students tries to stop Keith, but he tells them they need to silence her so she doesn't rat them out. However, When he tells Kurt to silence her, Kurt gets attacked by Bond, who moves to protect Onya. Afterward, one of the students prepares to attack Bond, but Keith tells them they need to keep the dogs safe. One of the students worries that people will hear Bond, but another student tries to relax him by telling him no one will think of barking today. Meanwhile, Forger frantically runs around the adoption fair, asking people if they've seen Onya. After lots of searching, she comes to the conclusion that Onya is not at the fair anymore. She remembers that she saw on the news that young women were being kidnapped and forced to get married. She tries to think of what to do and worriedly paces around, hoping that Lloyd Forger will arrive soon. However, Lloyd is off doing work for Wise and gets a call from Handler, who tells him that both of the hideouts Chris had told them about have been abandoned. Lloyd tells her that he was able to find out about 2 white vans rented under the name Kevin Knowles. Lloyd gives her the plate numbers and she tells him they'll track the vans down. Handler also informs Lloyd that they found the source of the dog's Project Apple, a project by the Austinian regime to create high-intelligence military animals. Apparently, instead of the research subjects getting destroyed, they were sold on the black market. Handler tells Lloyd to be careful because the dogs could still possess heightened intelligence. At the terrorists' hideout, Keith tells Bond to step away from Anya so he can kill her quickly. However, Anya reads Bond's mind and sees a premonition showing a phone ringing, which takes the terrorists off guard. Just after seeing that premonition, the phone rings with a call from Kim, one of their co-conspirators. Kim informs them that their hideouts have gotten raided, which makes Keith tell them they'll need to switch to Plan B. After announcing this, they notice that Anya and Bond are nowhere to be seen as they escaped. While the group was distracted, Anya, riding on Bond's back, escapes the hideout. She realizes after the premonition he had that he can see the future. She tries to redirect him towards you so that she can protect them, but Bond keeps heading off in a different direction. Keith yells at them for letting her escape and tells Kurt to come with him and bring a dog so they can chase after Anya. He tells the rest of the group to tear all the maps off the wall since they're abandoning the hideout. Anya tries to get Bond to stop, but he just keeps running. She decides to instead direct him towards the police, but they end up heading in a circle and running right into Keith and Kurt. She tries to get Bond to turn around, but before they can, the dog attacks the two of them and Keith grabs onto Bond's leash. Keith directs Kurt to kill Onya, so he grabs onto her and gets ready to snap her neck. He comes up from behind though and knocks Kurt to the ground. She yells that Onya is too young to get married, believing that they were one of the kidnappers she heard about on the news. Keith stands there dumb, founded by the attack, while Kurt lies unconscious on the ground.
Thanks for watching Rico Anime Recaps. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can get more videos like this.